A single mom took a bullet for a complete stranger in a dark alley. What she didn't know was that the man she saved ruled the city's most dangerous empire. Now assassins are hunting her daughter, and the only protection she has comes from the one man she should fear most. If you're new here, subscribe and comment your location. Now let's begin. Mommy, why is that man standing in the dark? Jessica Martinez's blood turned to ice at her 6-year-old daughter Lucy's innocent question. Her eyes snapped to the alley entrance where a figure lurked in the shadows, and 15 years of military training kicked in like a switch being flipped. She'd seen this setup before, in Kandahar, in Mosul, in a dozen other places where death wore a mask and waited in the darkness. Tactical positioning, weight forward on the balls of his feet. Right arm extended at a specific angle that meant only one thing: gun, target, imminent execution. Jessica's gaze shot to the man walking casually through the alley, phone pressed to his ear, completely oblivious to the death sentence 3 seconds away from being carried out. Expensive suit, confident stride, no situational awareness whatsoever. Civilian, about to die. Jessica had maybe 2 heartbeats to make a choice. "Lucy, close your eyes tight and count to 20, Jessica commanded in her sergeant voice, the one that had once ordered frightened soldiers through mortar fire. "Do it now, baby." She shoved Lucy toward the brick wall and launched herself forward with the explosive speed of someone who'd done combat extractions under enemy fire. The stranger in the suit had no idea death was coming. No idea salvation was about to hit him like a freight train. Jessica's shoulder drove into the man's ribs with enough force to send them both crashing to the wet pavement. The gunshot cracked through the night air like thunder. White-hot agony exploded through Jessica's left side just below her ribcage. She'd been shot twice before, once in Afghanistan, once in Iraq, and the pain was horrifyingly familiar. Like someone had jabbed a red-hot poker through her torso and was twisting it for good measure. Her vision blurred, her ears rang, but combat instincts kept her moving. She rolled, tried to position herself between the shooter and the man she'd just saved, her hand instinctively reaching for a sidearm she no longer carried. "Mama!" Lucy's scream cut through the chaos, high and terrified and absolutely shattering. Footsteps, running. The shooter was fleeing. Smart, witnesses everywhere now, sirens already wailing in the distance. Jessica tried to push herself up, tried to reach for her daughter, but her body wasn't responding properly. Blood was spreading across her shirt, warm and sticky, and the world was tilting sideways in a way that suggested significant blood loss. Strong hands caught her before she hit the ground. "Don't move." The voice was deep, commanding, with an Italian accent that turned every syllable into liquid silk. The stranger, the man she'd saved. "You're hit. Stay still." "My daughter," Jessica managed through gritted teeth, her combat medic training warring with maternal panic. "Lucy, blonde, 6 years old, pink jacket, is she?" "I have her, dear." A woman's voice, older, kind. "The little one is safe with me." Jessica forced her eyes to focus. The stranger was leaning over her, and even through the haze of shock and pain, she registered certain details. Dark eyes that looked black in the dim light, sharp, aristocratic features, a face that belonged on Roman sculptures, expensive cologne mixing with the smell of gunpowder and blood. He was speaking rapidly in Italian into a phone, the words coming too fast for Jessica to follow, even if her brain wasn't short-circuiting from blood loss. But she caught the tone, authority, command. This wasn't a man who asked for things. He ordered them, and people obeyed. "An ambulance is coming," he told her, switching to English, those dark eyes boring into hers. "Stay with me. You hear me? You don't get to save my life and then die on me. That's not how this works." Jessica wanted to tell him she'd been shot worse and survived, that she was a combat medic who knew exactly how serious the wound was, that she'd probably make it if treatment arrived in the next 15 minutes. But speaking required energy she didn't have, and the darkness pulling at the edges of her vision was getting more insistent. The last thing she heard was Lucy crying for her mama. Then nothing. Jessica woke to the scent of jasmine and expensive sheets. not the harsh antiseptic smell of a hospital, something softer, more luxurious, completely wrong for someone who'd been shot. Her left side throbbed with a deep, aching pain that spoke of serious trauma properly treated but far from healed. She forced her eyes open and immediately knew 3 things with absolute certainty. First, this wasn't a hospital. The room was huge, decorated with actual art on the walls, furniture that looked hand-carved, and floor-to-ceiling windows showing a view of manicured gardens that probably cost more to maintain than her annual salary. Second, she'd been professionally treated. The IV in her arm was hospital grade, the monitors beside the bed were top of the line, and she could feel the tightness of surgical dressings under the silk pajamas someone had dressed her in. Third, and most important, Lucy wasn't here. Jessica tried to sit up and immediately regretted it as pain lanced through her side. "Easy, dear. Don't tear your stitches." An older woman appeared beside the bed, gentle hands pressing her back against the pillows. Late 60s, kind face, wearing an apron over sensible clothes. "You've been unconscious for almost 20 hours. The bullet nicked your kidney, but Dr. Rossi patched you up beautifully. You'll heal completely with rest." "Where's my daughter?" Jessica's voice came out hoarse but firm. "Where's Lucy?" "Safe. Sleeping in the room next door?" The woman smiled warmly. "I'm Rosa. I've been watching her while you recovered. Such a sweet child. She's been very worried about you, but I kept her distracted with stories and cookies." "Where am I?" "Mr. Russo's estate." Rosa adjusted the IV drip with practiced efficiency. "He thought it safer than a hospital. The man who shot you, there were concerns." "Mr. Russo." The name meant nothing to Jessica, but the implications were clear. The man she'd saved was wealthy enough to have a private doctor, an estate, and security concerns that required bringing a gunshot victim to his home instead of a hospital. Before she could ask more questions, the door opened. The man from the alley walked in, and Jessica got her first clear look at him in proper lighting. He was devastating. Early 40s, dark hair swept back from a face that belonged in Italian fashion magazines, wearing a charcoal suit tailored so perfectly it probably cost more than her car. But it was his eyes that held her attention. Intelligent, calculating, and fixed on her with an intensity that made her very aware of how vulnerable she was. "Ms. Martinez." His accent was subtle, refined. "I'm pleased to see you awake. How are you feeling?" "Like I got shot." Jessica's military directness overrode any impulse toward politeness. "I want to see my daughter." "Right now." A ghost of a smile touched his lips. "Rosa, would you bring Lucy?" The moment Rosa left, the temperature in the room seemed to drop 5 degrees. The man, Mr. Russo, moved closer to the bed, and Jessica fought the urge to flinch. She'd stared down insurgents in combat zones. She wouldn't show fear to a man in a suit, no matter how intimidating his presence. "You have questions," he said. "I'll answer them honestly. But first, I need you to understand something." He pulled a chair closer and sat, leaning forward with his elbows on his knees. "The man who shot you is named Viktor Kozlov. He was hired to kill me. You interfered with that contract, which means you can identify him, you're a witness to an attempted murder, and in Viktor's world, witnesses are problems that need to be eliminated." Jessica's stomach dropped. "My daughter is safe, for now." His expression was grave. "I have 40 men on this estate, the best security money can buy. But Ms. Martinez, Jessica, you need to understand that you can't leave here. Not until I've handled Viktor. Because the moment you step outside these walls, he'll find you, and he'll kill you, and your daughter." "Handle him how?" Jessica's voice was sharp. "What does handle mean in your world?" "Do you really want me to answer that?" Jessica held his gaze, her combat experience reading the truth in his eyes. This man was offering her protection, but the cost would be getting tangled up in whatever dangerous world he inhabited. "How long?" "As long as it takes to neutralize the threat. Days, possibly weeks." His voice softened slightly. "I know you want nothing to do with my world." I know you're probably regretting saving me, but I owe you my life. I'm offering you mine in return, my protection, my resources, my word that no harm will come to you or your daughter. Please accept it." Before Jessica could respond, the door burst open and a small hurricane in princess pajamas came flying through. "Mommy!" Lucy launched herself at the bed, and Jessica caught her daughter with her good arm, ignoring the screaming protest from her wounded side. She buried her face in Lucy's blonde hair, breathed in the scent of strawberry shampoo and childhood, and felt tears sliding down her cheeks. "I'm okay, baby. I'm okay." "You got hurt!" Lucy pulled back, her blue eyes swimming with tears. "The bad man hurt you and there was blood, and I was so scared. But I'm going to be fine. See? The doctor fixed me up good as new." Jessica forced a smile despite the pain. "Just a little owie. I've had worse. Rosa said you're a hero. She said you saved Mr. Marco from the bad man." Lucy looked over at the stranger with the solemn gravity only children could achieve. "Is that true? Is my mommy a hero?" The man's entire demeanor shifted. The dangerous crime boss vanished, replaced by something softer, almost gentle. "Yes, your mommy is the bravest person I've ever met. She saved my life without even thinking about her own safety. That makes her the most incredible kind of hero." "Then you have to take care of her now," Lucy announced with absolute conviction. "That's the rule. If someone saves you, you have to take care of them back." I couldn't agree more. The man, Marco apparently, stood and moved closer. "Which is why your mommy and you are going to stay here as my guests until I can make absolutely sure you're both safe. Is that okay with you, Lucy?" Lucy looked at Jessica. "Can we, Mommy? This place has a huge library with a ladder that rolls, and Rosa makes the best cookies I ever tasted, and there's a garden with actual peacocks." Jessica looked at her daughter's excited face, then at Marco's serious expression, then at Rosa hovering protectively in the doorway. She was a single mom who worked double shifts as an ER nurse to make rent. Her savings account had maybe $800. She had no family, no support network, no way to protect Lucy from a professional killer. "Okay," Jessica said quietly, "we'll stay. But the moment the threat is gone, you're free to leave," Marco finished. "You have my word. On my family name, on everything I hold sacred, I will protect you and your daughter, and I will let you go the moment it's safe." Over the next week, Jessica discovered that Marco Russo's estate was actually a fortress disguised as an Italian villa. 30 acres surrounded by walls topped with cameras and sensors, guards patrolling in rotating shifts, every entrance monitored, security protocols that would impress a military base. And somehow, despite being essentially a prisoner in a gilded cage, it was the safest Jessica had felt in years. Lucy adapted with the resilience of children everywhere. She spent mornings in the library with Rosa, afternoons in the garden chasing peacocks, evenings watching movies in a theater room that had actual velvet seats and a popcorn machine. The guards who terrified Jessica treated Lucy like their own niece, teaching her Italian phrases and sneaking her extra cookies when Rosa wasn't looking. Jessica spent most of her time trying not to go insane from forced inactivity. Her wound was healing well. She'd been shot before, knew the recovery timeline, but being cooped up while someone wanted her dead made her restless. She was a soldier. She was used to action, to intel, to having some control over the situation. On the 5th day, she found Marco in his study, surrounded by papers and looking more tired than she'd seen him. "You should rest," she said from the doorway. Marco looked up, surprise flickering across his features before his mask settled back into place. "I could say the same to you. You were shot less than a week ago." "I've been shot worse." Jessica moved into the room, her posture automatic military despite wearing borrowed designer clothes. "I want a threat assessment. What's the situation with Victor?" "Are you interrogating me, Ms. Martinez?" "I'm requesting intel. I was an Army medic with tactical training. 3 tours overseas. I know how enemy organizations operate, and I know that sitting around waiting while someone wants me dead isn't a strategy. It's a death sentence." Jessica crossed her arms carefully, mindful of her healing wound. "So either give me information or I'm taking Lucy and leaving." "You'd be dead within 12 hours. "Maybe. But at least I'd die making my own choices instead of being a kept prisoner in a golden cage." The silence stretched taut and dangerous. Then Marco laughed. Really laughed, the sound rich and genuine and completely unexpected. "Okay," he said. "Okay. You want intel? I'll give you intel." He gestured to a chair. "Sit. This will take a while." For the next hour, Marco laid out everything. Viktor Kozlov was an enforcer for the Volkov crime family, Russian mob out of Brooklyn. The Volkovs had been trying to muscle into Russo territory for months, and killing Marco was their primary objective. Viktor had gone underground after the botched hit, but Marco's people were closing in. "How close?" Jessica asked. "Close enough that he's getting desperate. Desperate men make mistakes." Marco's expression darkened. "But they also take bigger risks. He knows you can identify him. He'll come for you." "Good." Marco's head snapped up. "Good? If he's coming for me, we use it. Set a trap, draw him out, end this." Jessica leaned forward. "I can help. I know tactics, I know combat." Absolutely not." "Why not? It's the fastest solution." "Because I'm not using you and your daughter as bait." Marco's voice was sharp enough to cut glass. "That's not negotiable." "Then what's your plan? Keep us locked up here indefinitely?" "If that's what it takes to keep you alive, yes." Marco stood and moved around the desk. "Jessica, I know you're used to being in control, used to making tactical decisions. But this is my world, my expertise. Let me handle this." "And how exactly are you handling it?" "The permanent way." There was steel in his voice. "Viktor Kozlov tried to kill me and then put his hands on someone under my protection. I don't forgive that. Or forget it." Jessica should have been horrified, should have been repulsed by the casual discussion of murder. Instead, she just felt tired. "You're going to kill him?" "Yes." "When?" "Soon. We're close." Marco's hand came up, almost touching her face before he seemed to think better of it and dropped it. "I know you hate this, hate being helpless. But please, Jessica, trust me. Just a little longer." Looking into those dark eyes, seeing the genuine concern there mixed with something more complicated, Jessica found herself nodding. "Okay. But the moment it's done, you're free to go, I promise." That night, Jessica couldn't sleep. Her side ached, her mind wouldn't stop racing, and the expensive bed felt too soft after years of military cots and hospital on-call rooms. She finally gave up around 1 a.m. and padded downstairs, thinking tea might help. She found Marco in the kitchen, making espresso with a machine that probably cost more than her car. "Can't sleep either?" he asked without turning around. "Too quiet. Too safe." Jessica leaned against the marble counter. "That probably sounds crazy." "Not at all. I'm the same." Marco poured espresso into 2 small cups and handed her one. "I sleep maybe 4 hours a night, always with a weapon within reach." "Even here, in your fortress?" "Especially here. Power makes enemies." Marco took a sip of his espresso. "You asked what I expected when you first saved me. Want to know the truth?" "Sure. I expected someone who would fall apart, who would need constant reassurance and protection. Instead, I got a woman who took a bullet without hesitation, woke up in a crime lord's house without screaming, and has spent the past week analyzing my security protocols and offering tactical improvements." His smile was genuine. "You're extraordinary, Jessica Martinez." Jessica felt heat rise to her cheeks. "I'm just doing what needs to be done." "That's exactly what makes you extraordinary." Marco set down his cup, his eyes locked on hers. "I've been in this life for 20 years, met thousands of people, and I've never met anyone like you." The air between them suddenly felt charged, electric. Jessica was acutely aware of how close they were standing, how the kitchen lights cast shadows across Marco's features, how his eyes were fixed on her with an intensity that had nothing to do with security protocols. "Marco," she started. "Mommy?" They jumped apart like guilty teenagers as Lucy appeared in the doorway, clutching her stuffed bunny. "I had a scary dream," Lucy said, her lip trembling. "Can I sleep with you?" "Of course. Baby?" Jessica scooped up her daughter, ignoring the protest from her healing wound. "Let's get you back to bed." But as she carried Lucy upstairs, she could feel Marco's eyes following her. And she knew, with absolute certainty, that something between them had fundamentally shifted. The next 2 weeks passed in a strange domestic routine. Jessica's wound healed, Lucy thrived under Rosa's doting attention and the guards' protective indulgence, and Jessica found herself spending more and more time with Marco. He was nothing like she'd expected a mafia boss to be. Yes, he ran a criminal empire. Yes, he made decisions that probably ended lives. But he was also surprisingly gentle with Lucy, patient with her endless questions, creative when playing imagination games. He read her bedtime stories in Italian, teaching her the language through fairy tales. He had a swing set installed in the garden just for her. And with Jessica, he was something else entirely. Challenging, engaging, intense in ways that made her pulse race and her carefully constructed walls crumble brick by brick. They talked for hours about her military service, his family legacy, philosophy and ethics, and whether redemption was possible for people like him. They debated politics over Rosa's homemade pasta. They played chess in his study, both fiercely competitive and grudgingly impressed by the other's strategy. And the attraction between them grew more undeniable with every passing day. Jessica tried to ignore it, tried to remind herself this was temporary, that she was only here for protection, that getting involved with a crime lord was the worst possible idea for a single mom trying to build a stable life for her daughter. But then Marco would laugh at something Lucy said, or his hand would brush against hers reaching for coffee, or she'd catch him watching her with those intense dark eyes, and all her rational arguments would scatter like leaves in the wind. On the 15th night, after Lucy was safely asleep, Jessica found Marco on the terrace overlooking the gardens. He'd shed his jacket and tie, rolled up his sleeves, and for once looked more man than mob boss. "We found him," Marco said without preamble. "Victor's holed up in a warehouse in Red Hook. We're moving on him tomorrow night." Jessica's heart stuttered. "Tomorrow?" "It has to be now. He's planning something. Another attempt on me, possibly on you." "I can't risk waiting." Marco turned to face her fully. "I'll end this tomorrow, and then you and Lucy can go back to your lives." "What if I don't want to go back?" The words escaped before Jessica could stop them. Marco's eyes widened. "Jessica, I know this is insane. I know you're a criminal, and I'm a nurse and a single mom, and we've only known each other 2 weeks." Jessica moved closer. "But I feel more alive here than I have in years, since before David died in Afghanistan, since before I became a single parent just trying to survive. You make me feel like I'm actually living instead of just existing." "You don't know what you're saying." "Yes, I do. I'm saying I think I'm falling for you, and I think you feel the same way." Jessica closed the distance between them. "Am I wrong?" Marco's hands came up to frame her face. "No. You're not wrong, but Jessica, my world, it's dangerous, violent, not the kind of life you want for Lucy. Maybe not, but it's honest. You're honest. You don't pretend to be something you're not." Jessica's hands fisted in his shirt. "I'm not asking you to change. I'm not asking you to leave your empire. I'm just asking if there's room in your life for me and Lucy, if this thing between us is worth exploring." "You're asking if a mafia boss can have a family." Marco's thumb traced her cheekbone. "The answer is yes. We do. We love fiercely. We protect absolutely. And once you're ours forever. There's no going back." "I don't want to go back," Jessica whispered. "I want to move forward. With you." Marco kissed her then, deep and consuming and full of barely restrained hunger. Jessica kissed him back with everything she had. All the longing she'd been suppressing, all the emotion she'd tried to deny. His hands slid into her hair while hers explored the planes of his back, and for those few perfect moments, nothing existed except the two of them. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Marco rested his forehead against hers. "I love you," he said roughly. "I think I loved you from the moment you threw yourself in front of that bullet. And I love Lucy like she's already mine, but I need you to be sure. Because if you do this, if you choose this life with me, there's no going back. My world is permanent." "I'm sure." Jessica pulled him closer. "I'm all in. Even knowing what I am, what I do? Especially knowing that, because you're honest about it. You don't hide who you are." Jessica kissed him again, softer this time. "I love you. Marco Russo, God help me, but I do." The next evening, Jessica watched Marco prepare for the confrontation with Victor. He moved with military precision, checking weapons, coordinating with his men, reviewing tactical plans. She recognized the ritual. It was what she'd done before dangerous missions overseas. "Be careful," she said from the doorway of his study. "Always." Marco secured his weapon and crossed to her. "If something goes wrong..." "Nothing's going wrong. You're coming back." Jessica grabbed his face with both hands. "You hear me? You're coming back to us. That's an order." "Yes, ma'am." Marco kissed her hard. "Stay inside. Rosa and 10 men are guarding the property. Don't open the door for anyone but me. I'm not helpless. I know. But humor me." Marco pulled her against him. "I need to know you and Lucy are safe." "I can't focus if I'm worried." Jessica nodded against his chest. "Okay, but hurry back." "I will. I promise." Marco left with 12 of his best men. Jessica spent the evening playing games with Lucy, reading stories, doing everything she could to act normal. But inside, she was counting minutes, running tactical scenarios, analyzing every possible outcome. At 9 p.m., Lucy finally fell asleep. Jessica carried her to bed, tucked her in, kissed her forehead. Then she went downstairs to wait. Rosa brought her tea. The guards checked in every hour. The house was locked down, secured, as safe as it could possibly be. But Jessica couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. At 11 p.m., her phone rang. Marco. "It's done," he said, and she heard exhaustion and something darker in his voice. "Victor's dead. His organization is scattered. You're safe now." Relief crashed through her like a wave. "Are you hurt?" "Few bruises, nothing serious." Marco paused. "Jessica, I need to handle some cleanup. I won't be home until early morning, but I wanted you to know, it's over. Really over. You're safe. Thank God." Jessica closed her eyes. "I love you." "I love you too. Get some rest. I'll see you soon." Jessica ended the call and felt the tension drain from her shoulders. It was finally over. She and Lucy were safe. They could figure out their future without looking over their shoulders. She headed upstairs to check on Lucy one last time before trying to sleep herself. But when she opened Lucy's door, her blood turned to ice. The window was open, the bed was empty, and a note lay on the pillow in handwriting she didn't recognize. "If you want your daughter back, come alone to the address below. Tell anyone and she dies. You have 45 minutes. A friend." Jessica's combat training kicked in instantly. This wasn't Victor. Marco had just confirmed Victor was dead. This was someone else. Someone inside Marco's organization. Someone who knew the security protocols, knew Marco would be away, knew exactly when to strike. A traitor. Jessica grabbed her phone to call Marco, then stopped. The note said, "Come alone. Tell anyone and Lucy dies." But could she trust that? Was it a bluff? Or would whoever took Lucy really kill a 6-year-old child? Jessica made a decision. She'd go, but she'd do it smart. She found Rosa in the kitchen. "I need car keys, now, and don't call Marco yet." Rosa's eyes widened. "What's happened?" "Lucy's been taken." "I have 45 minutes." Jessica's voice was steady despite the terror clawing at her insides. "If Marco comes storming in with his whole team, they'll kill her. I need to do this alone first, but if I'm not back in 2 hours, you call him. You tell him everything." Rosa hesitated, then handed over keys and a handgun from a drawer. God be with you, dear. Jessica was in the car within 2 minutes. The address was an abandoned factory in the industrial district. Classic ambush location. She drove with her tactical mind fully engaged, blocking out fear and focusing on the mission. Lucy was the objective. Extract Lucy. Everything else was secondary. The factory was dark when she arrived, exactly 42 minutes after finding the note. Jessica approached carefully, gun drawn, scanning for threats. The main door was unlocked. They were expecting her. Inside was darkness and the smell of rust and oil. "I'm here!" Jessica called out. "I came alone! Where's my daughter?" Lights blazed on, blinding her. When her vision cleared, she saw a figure standing 50 feet away. Not Victor. Someone she recognized from the estate. Paul, Marco's underboss, his second in command. The man Marco trusted most in the world, and he had a gun pressed to Lucy's head. "Hello, Jessica," Paul said with a smile that made her skin crawl. "Thank you for being so predictable." "Mommy!" Lucy sobbed, tears streaming down her face. Every instinct screamed at Jessica to charge forward, to rip her daughter away from this monster. But training held her in place. One wrong move, and Lucy died. "Let her go," Jessica said, keeping her voice calm. "Whatever this is about, she's innocent. She's 6 years old. She can't hurt you." "But she can hurt Marco," Paul said. "See, Marco's gone soft, started caring about things, about people, about you and this little brat. That makes him weak. That makes him vulnerable, and weak leaders need to be replaced. So this is a coup." Jessica's mind was racing. "You want his position. I want what's mine. I've been his second for 15 years, put in the work, earned the respect, but he's too busy playing house with you to see that his empire is crumbling." Paul's expression twisted with rage. "So I eliminate his distractions, starting with his new family. Marco will kill you for this? Marco will be too broken to do anything, and when he is, I'll put him out of his misery and take what should have been mine years ago." Paul's finger tightened on the trigger. "Any last words?" "Yes." Jessica lowered her gun slowly to the floor. "You made a mistake." "What mistake?" "You assumed I came alone." The factory doors exploded inward. Marco stormed in with 20 armed men, and the expression on his face was something out of nightmares, pure, incandescent fury mixed with calculated violence. "Let them go, Paul," Marco said, his voice deadly calm. "Now." "Or what? You'll shoot? I'll kill the girl first." Paul's smile was nasty. "Check and mate, boss." "Not quite." Marco's eyes flicked to Jessica for just a second, and she saw the message there. "Trust me." "You see, you made a critical error. You assumed Jessica wouldn't figure out it was you. That she wouldn't notice your handwriting on the note. That she wouldn't tell Rosa to call me the moment she left." Paul's face went pale. "She came alone. She came first. I came prepared." Marco's gun never wavered. "So here's how this ends. You let Jessica and Lucy walk out of here. In exchange, I give you a 5-second head start before my men hunt you down like the rat you are." "That's not a deal. It's the only deal you're getting, because the alternative is I kill you right now and spend the rest of my life helping Lucy overcome the trauma of watching someone die." The standoff stretched, tense and terrible. Then Lucy did something that surprised everyone. She bit Paul's hand as hard as she could. Paul yelped and his gun dropped for just a second. Jessica moved with the explosive speed of combat training, closed the distance in 3 strides, and drove her fist into Paul's throat with precision born of CQC experience. He stumbled back, gasping, releasing Lucy. "Run, baby!" Lucy ran straight to Jessica, who spun to shield her daughter with her body, and then Marco's men were moving. 3 shots. Paul went down. It was over in seconds. Marco was at their side immediately, his hands running over them both, checking for injuries with barely controlled panic. "Are you hurt? Did he touch you? I swear to God." "We're okay," Jessica managed, still holding Lucy tight. "We're okay. How did you know? Rosa called me the second you left. And I know Paul's handwriting. I've seen it on 10,000 documents. Marco pulled them both into his arms. Don't ever do that again. Don't ever face danger alone when you have me to protect you. He said he'd kill her. I know. Marco was shaking, and Jessica realized this dangerous man had been just as terrified as she was. But we're partners now. We face threats together, always. Lucy looked up at Marco with her tear-stained face. You called us family earlier. Did you mean it? Yes. Marco cupped her small face gently. If your mom will have me, you're both mine, forever. I'd like that, Lucy said seriously. Then, with the resilience of children everywhere, she added, Can we go home now? Rosa was making hot chocolate. Marco and Jessica both laughed, relief and love and exhaustion mixing together. Yeah, baby, Jessica said. Let's go home. 6 months later, Jessica stood on the terrace of what was now legitimately her home, watching Lucy play in the garden with the guards who'd become her honorary uncles. Her wound had healed completely, leaving only a small scar she wore with pride. Her life had transformed in ways she never could have imagined. Marco came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. Happy? He murmured against her neck. Surprisingly, yes. Jessica leaned back into him. Though your security is still vulnerable on the south wall. Of course it is. Marco laughed. My tactical genius. Fiancé, Jessica corrected, touching the diamond ring on her finger. Your tactical genius fiancé. How could I forget? Lucy reminds me daily that we're getting married next month. Marco turned her to face him. Are you sure? Marrying me means marrying into this world, the danger, the violence, the constant security. I'm sure. Jessica pulled him down for a kiss. Besides, someone needs to keep fixing your tactical mistakes. I was handling that situation perfectly. You were about to get shot in an alley. Minor detail. They laughed together, and Jessica thought about how much had changed since that night. She'd taken a bullet for a stranger. That stranger had become her family, and somehow, impossibly, she'd found love in the most unexpected place. Marco Russo was still a mafia boss. He still ran an empire built on crime and violence, but he was also a man who read bedtime stories to Lucy, who debated tactical strategies with Jessica like an equal, who looked at them both like they were his entire world, who loved fiercely and protected absolutely. Their life wasn't conventional, but it was theirs. I love you, Jessica said. I love you too, Marco replied, even if you do keep trying to redesign my security. Someone has to. Your south wall has blind spots. There are no blind spots. Want to bet? Marco grinned and kissed her. Winner picks dinner. Deal. And as they stood there together, watching Lucy laugh in the garden they'd built as a family, Jessica Cooper knew she'd made the right choice that night in the alley. She'd saved a stranger's life, and in return, he'd given her everything she never knew she needed. Thank you for watching this incredible journey of sacrifice, protection, and unexpected love. Have you ever made a split-second decision that changed your entire life? Would you have taken that bullet for a complete stranger? Drop your answer and location in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more heart-pounding stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat.